Hey everybody, Wendy Clinky with Blue Cat Studio. All right, we are now officially doing day 24 on the 24th for the Advent Ornament Challenge. Today we're going to do the three wise men or three kings. I honestly don't have a clue what the difference is, and I feel like I might be missing something in the story, but whatever, it's cool. So let's go ahead and work through how to draw this. So we'll begin. I'm going to kind of create like a, so if my top is right here, let me just make a little line so that's pretty obvious, and it kind of helps create a reference on my painter's tape. We're going to create kind of a diagonal, sort of a swoop, and then another swoop here for a mountain. Okay, and so from here, we're going to kind of start right around here and create roughly a triangle, and then another one, and we're kind of going to allow them to overlap, and then one more. Does that make sense? Can you guys see that okay? Although, honestly, I got to make sure that sorry, every time I go to erase, it gets all wiggly waggly. So that's the basic body. Then we're going to kind of swoop out to create a cape, swoop out to create a cape, and swoop out to create a cape. And then we want to kind of erase a little bit so that we don't have all the overlaps. And then we're going to do like a little circle on top, actually more like an oval for the head. We're not going to do much in terms of like facial features on this guy. We're going to keep it real simple. And then of course they'll get these funky beards that kind of come out, kind of Hammurabi style beard and a little crown. It's basically a line and then zigzag, zigzag. We'll sort that out. And then maybe some hair that comes down or a thing. I don't know. Oh, we need to get arms. Okay. So the arms are going to just look like that with a circle, and it's just kind of swoop out. So see how it kind of creates almost a triangle-y shape? And a circle. So they're all bearing gifts and they've traveled so far, right? Okay. Glad we all got that song sorted out. I'm not singing for you though, because my talent lies in painting, not in singing. So from here, then we can start to erase some of our background lines. Although honestly, I sort of want to create like a mountain. So we'll kind of have it, the mountain jiggle jaggle right behind and then kind of come back up. So that's a lot of drawing, but hopefully that made some sense to you. Go ahead and grab, I'm going to grab like a largish brush. And I'm going to begin with my ultramarine blue or cobalt blue. I'm going to kind of paint right around here, kind of right up to the mountain. We don't have to be super fixated. I'm going to go over these guys' crowns because painting around them is a royal pain. Then we'll kind of come down along here, kind of over his crown, because we know we'll put that back in. I can probably cover up his beard too. I don't really want to cover his head though. I think his head, because we're going to kind of try and get some skin tones in there, we'll want to keep separate. So there we go. We got our basic. Oops, we got a mountain kind of drops down a little bit. So I'm going to just jam a little bit of extra paint down in that zone there. So let's see, from here, we're going to add a little bit of white. So I have all that blue paint on my brush, going to add a little bit of white. Just kind of massage it right in right there to create a lighter blue. And then kind of take that right along this border here. And, you know, brush it out, brush it out, brush it out. Wah! Oopsies. Oh, we'll just have to make sure I get that properly covered. Again, we're working in small detail here. So do your best to kind of chin up if this gets frustrating. I'm going to grab a little bit more of the darker blue and bring it back up here into the sky to just kind of blend back down. Because we want it a little bit lighter along the base here, but not super, super light. Yeah, okay, we'll add a little bit more of the lightness in a few spots, a little bit. So we're creating a subtle blend here because we just want kind of the darkness of the mountains and the sky not to completely smush together. Okay. So fairly subtle, a little bit of a, okay. And it's kind of funny because I've got like a bit of a glare, so I can see on screen what's happening and it looks so different sometimes. Go ahead and offload that brush and then rinse it. I think we're done. We're almost done with a big brush. And if that brush was too big for you and you're not feeling comfortable working with that kind of scale, then it's okay to go down a smaller size. So now we're going to grab our dioxazine or royal purple or violet, whatever. It's going to be the dark purple. And we're just going to come in here and get kind of these mountains here. And I'm not going to worry about his little hair cape thing, whatever that is. We can paint that over pretty easily. The more details you have to paint around, the more you're going to hate me. So we're just going to not worry about some of those details and add them later. So we'll get the big parts first and then I'll scale down my brush. So I guess they're traveling through the desert and through all sorts of interesting whatnots. These guys are a little bit stylistic. They're not meant to look super realistic. But I kind of like that style. All right, I think I officially want a smaller brush. But before we go there, I'm going to add just a smidge of blue kind of to the lower portion of this mountain. Offload my brush, but no rinse, and then grab more purple and kind of blend it. Blend it, blend it, blend it. That way it's just it's a beautiful rich color. Whoops. Get a little bit more purple there. You guys, we're so close to being done with the Advent Ornament Challenge. This has been a lot of fun. Okay, here we go. That's right. I'm not worried about the guy's head cape thing, and we'll just kind of jab some paint in there in between. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. I can even kind of cover up some of the things that they're carrying because we'll be able to get those back in with some gold. I'm going to be using a lot of gold today. So hopefully you've got a good gold. My favorites, of course, are the 24 karat gold from Deco Art Americana. And the other, then they have that tub of stuff, which I buy in like bulk. Either way, it's just super shimmery. So go ahead and offload your brush, rinse it, and we can set it aside. So you can kind of see how the forms are shaping up. Now we can mix their bodies. So from here, we're going to grab some red. I've got a dark spot here. I may have to mess with that a bit. We're going to give him a red cape. Just kind of come in here. So I went down a size in the brushes. I now have an 1/8 inch square or flat brush, whatever you like to call it. I'm going to be a little bit cautious as I come out, like right along the edge there, because I don't really want to pick up any purple, but I also don't want to leave any wood showing. All right, so base coat there. I can see a little bit of that blue underneath. Not stressing about it. We'll I don't want to say fix that, but we'll work it out. Oh yeah, and then we'll get this guy's body here, and I obviously messed up and got gold on it too, but also we can paint over these things. That is the beauty of acrylic paint. So we're using mostly reds and yellows and blending some oranges for these guys. And now this guy here, we'll get a little bit of red as a base, but see it's kind of going on rough. No big deal, because I'm going to grab some yellow on my brush and just work it in and turn it into an orange. Look at that. All my mixing is happening right there on the ornament or on the surface. So now we've got a pretty good orange for that guy. Hey, Linda, how are ya? Good to see ya. Okay, let's see here. And orange. Okay, so next we want to get orange. So I still have a good amount of red on my brush. So I'm just going to grab the yellow and sort of scrub it right in there on this body here. Grabbing a little bit more yellow because I've got a lot of red happening there. Coming right up like so. And it's fine if it gets a little bit darker red right along there because this cape is going to be yellow. So we definitely want it to stand out. So I'm trying to, vary these. So each one is a little bit different. but they all coordinate together nicely, but you also don't have colors sort of clashing up against one another that where you can't, or not clashing, but abutting one another where you can't see what's going on. So I still have got a lot of the red in my brush. Gonna grab some yellow. We're gonna go for a ruddy yellow cape here. But in the end, I'm just gonna paint that cape gold. So I'm trying to get a little bit of the red into that. There we go. I want it to be a lighter orange. So this guy is kind of mostly, excuse me, mostly orange. But, you know, his cape's like a lighter tangerine than his sort of reddish orange gown, jalaba, whatever it is he's wearing. It's probably a jalaba, not a gown, because dudes don't wear gowns. Okay, and then we will get his sleeve, which should probably, never decide if like the sleeve should match his cape, or if the sleeve should match his main outfit, but we'll do that. Okay. And then this guy, okay, he'll be red. Okay, so I'm going to rinse really quick because I want to get all the red out of my brush. Clunk. While I was doing this, I should have done this guy's arm red. I forgot, but that's fine. We'll come do it. So now I'm just coming back with some yellow. And I want a real bright yellow here. There we go. So now they all coordinate together, but they're all each slightly different. I guess we can give them yellow sleeves, right? Why not? Wipe it off. And I'm just going to grab some red. I don't think the yellow is going to tinge my red too much, so I can just kind of take the red and create the sleeve, which I somehow forgot to do earlier. Okay, and now just for fun, I'm going to offload, or I'm actually going to come back into my yellow, rub just a smidge of yellow in, and I'm going to come in here, although it's really still mostly red, just going to bring a little hint of depth right in there, right along that edge. Really, really subtle. We could probably do the same for this guy. I'm going to grab a touch more yellow here. Just kind of, I'm really kind of just working it in the dregs of the yellow, not in the main yellow. And we'll just smoosh a little bit. Maybe a little bit more yellow. It's getting kind of dry and not flowing the way we want it to. Just allowing a little bit of a sort of a shading, a little blendy color to happen right there. Keeps it interesting, right? Keeps it from being completely flat. Okay, go ahead, offload your brush and rinse it. Oh, this guy, that's still dark, isn't it? We got to fix that. Let's fix that this way. I'm going to grab some white. And we're just going to make a little smush on our palette. We're going to grab some red, smush it together. We're going to create like a pink color. We're going to just go over that right there. The white is going to mask out that color. So I got to come back and remember to paint that, but I've just effectively masked my accidental blue smudge. I can even add like a little bit more white to it to just kind of really create a coverage. So again, we'll let that dry and then we'll come back and then you won't be able to see it at all. So when in doubt, I could have gone straight white, but then I'd have like 4 layers of pink to go over it, or of red to go over it. But when I do the red and white combo, it acts like a deep base primer, kind of like when you're painting a wall in your house or something and you want to do like a really bright color. You have to do a deep base primer, not a white primer. Same concept. Okay, so all right, the next piece we're going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of this dioxazine purple, come over here, make it kind of thin. I'm actually going to grab a touch of yellow and a touch of red and kind of mix them together. I want a little bit more dioxazine purple. So it's kind of like a mushy color. It's the perfect shadow color. So we're going to bring, and again, I'm just still using this flat brush because I'm doing mostly simple straight lines. We're kind of going to bring just a little shadow kind of under his arm on his gown, jalaba outfit thing. I'm going to do that under each dude's arm. Each We Three King Wiseman dude. It's a little shadow. Now this guy, I almost want to go darker, so I'm going to grab just a bit more of the purple because I don't want it to seem lighter, the shadow seem lighter, which it kind of did when I was using the other mix. So Linda says, it's so interesting how you shade and highlight at the same time, still working on blending. Yeah, you know, it comes with practice, but the more we do these things, especially some of these exercises, my hope is that, you know, some of the lessons really start to kind of click and make sense. I'm just checking this guy. He's dry, so I can come over him and add a little bit of red to fix. And we'll just clean line there. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Now you cannot tell that I had a mess up. Yay! I love it when we can cover up our mistakes without, you know, without it being bad. Okay. Let me get rid of the extra red on my brush. Are we done with the red and yellow? I think we are. Okay, so I think I don't remember if I wrote it down, but a little bit of brown would be good. Or if you have like a skin tone, that's great too. I have raw umber here, which is a nice basic brown. Ta-da, raw umber, brown. So I want to mix some skin tones, and we've got 3 different dudes. So my feeling is we can have 3 different skin tones. I think I'm going to want to apply the skin tones to their faces with like a smaller brush, but this is a perfect size for mixing. So let's see. We're going to take some brown and put it over here. We get a little bit of yellow and put it over here. A little bit of red, put it over here. And a little bit of white. So you see how we're just kind of taking all those colors. We're going to smush them up together. And I got way too much red. Yellow, brown. So sometimes finding the right balance is a little hard. So this is kind of an orangey. If we want to tone it a little, like take the edge off that orangey tone, I can add a very tiny kiss of purple, which will dampen it. I don't want to go full blue, but I think purple is kind of a nice way to knock it down just a smidge. Okay, so that's a nice dark. That's a dark color. That's, I think, going to come off looking like just beautiful golden skin. So grabbing the small one, and we'll do the big guy here with the darker skin here. Here we go. Apparently I got something weird going on there. I'm not sure what. We'll figure it out. All right, so we got a brown, his face. Now I can literally just take a little kiss of white and blend it into that mix over here on the side and create a lighter skin tone. And we'll do this guy here, that middle tone. So he's a little bit lighter. And then the next guy, we'll add more white to that right here. And we'll do this guy here. So now we got 3 different dudes from 3 different kingdoms. I feel like the super pale guy should be Sweden. I should have had him up here. All right, so we're not going to bother with hands. But see, look at that. We basically just kept adding white to this, and we were able to tone it down. All right, offloading the paints. Rinse, rinse, rinse. So I feel like my line here is kind of yucky. I think I'm going to tidy that up before we keep going with the next thing. So I'm going to grab a little bit of the purple with my fine liner here, and I'm just going to tidy up the mountain line. Not mountain lion, mountain line. Kind of smooth it. Make any little tweaks in these interstitial areas or the spaces in between the guys. I love that word, interstitial. I learned it in architecture school, and I was like, oh, that's like the best word ever. Interstitial. Just refers to the in-between spaces, even those have names. And then if you want to get really fancy, the word you could refer to things as interstices. But that's a little extra fancy for me. I love words. I love words. All right, so just kind of doing a few touch-ups here and there, making sure this looks clean. Sorry, my hand is totally blocking like half the view. Just lining along. Again, the touch-ups, it's better to do the touch-ups now before we go back in with all the details. You know, let's work on the big stroke stuff, and then we can fine tune and just the little stuff in there later. So now we have, it kind of looks like the sun is going down, or is pretty much down, and there's just that final glow in the sky. The dudes are walking in the dark. It's a long journey, you know, all the fun stuff. Ooh, I think I forgot to say we should do some Bahama blue because they're going to need some beards. But let's blow dry it first because yeah. Then we'll get the moon in, and then we'll go a little bit hog wild with the gold. I really like the gold part because we get to basically decorate their outfits almost like a bunch of wizards or something. Only they're not wizards, they're wise men or three kings or whatever. All right, so just a little squeeze, probably 10 times too much, of Bahama blue deco art, as always. Y'all, are you seeing a trend here? We keep using the same stinking colors, but it works, right? Okay. Oh, and that's quite a heck of a color. So we'll give each of them kind of a, it's not a veil, but maybe it's a head covering that kind of sort of goes down behind them. I'm gonna keep this just simple, just bloop, and then it kind of goes like so. So remember, these guys are walking through the desert, so having head coverings is like really, really important. I don't know if you've, oh, see, Linda asked, did I come up with these compositions? They're also beautiful. Yep, every one of these is an original Blue Cat design. So last night, I mean, I've kind of been sketching. I have this whole sketchbook full of like little designs and whatnot that I kind of came up with, and you know, but that's only a couple of them. And I've had a few duds, you know, designs that just absolutely didn't work. All right, let's grab some white. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I have this idea, but I just can't figure out how to pull it off. Like I really wanted to do like a traditional angel, but I have pretty much hated every single one of them. And I don't feel that the stuff I've come up with is up to my standards. So I'm like, I'm not going to do them until, or unless I can get it right. Okay, so now we're going to do the beards. Since the beards, we're going to go a little goofy. We're going to make them these kind of pointy things that stick out. I kind of love that. And we'll give him a little bit of a beard that goes up his ear. Whoops, where's my color? There it is. And these are all old wise men, so they're all gray beards and white beards, right? So kind of letting it come out, or blue beards maybe. And they kind of stick out. There we go. They're almost like mini Santas. You get it up high enough so they also have mustachios. That kind of pulls that together. You can't even see his skin there, but you can in real life, just not on cam. Go ahead and rinse that pale blue off. Oh, that would actually also be good for our moon. We want to do our moon? Yeah, let's do our moon. Okay. I'm going to start actually with the Bahama blue, the turquoise, the light turquoise. All right, wish me luck here, guys. So we're just going to kind of do sort of most of a circle again. You've seen some of these elements in other designs. I'm going to just kind of make it a big crescent moon. So Linda says, I really struggle with that. So this is so inspiring for me. You see it in your head and compose it. Wow. Well, but I also sketch a lot to kind of get ideas out. And sometimes I just can't get it right. And again, like the whole angel thing, I could not get the angels right to save myself. It was driving me bonkers. All right, and add a little bit of white. So I didn't even fill this guy in all the way. And so I also use a lot of color theory and think about like darks and lights and various tones of colors and how they all go together to plan stuff out. But it is really important as you do a design to really think about the darks and the lights. And that's why we lightened along the skyline here so that we would actually be able to see the landscape in the background. Because if you don't, it just kind of becomes like mush. And you think, that's one of the things I see people struggle with a lot is they often create art that kind of feels a little bit mushy, or they rely too heavily on black or whatever else to create the difference between the light and the dark. And I'm trying very hard to model different ways of doing that. Okay, are we ready for some gold? Or we could paint some stars in. We could paint some stars in. Let's paint stars in. So I rinsed and I dried because I wanted to kind of get my tip back. So we'll come in into the white here. You could also do this with a paint pen. It would probably be a heck of a lot easier with a paint pen. But we're going to just do, I'm just going to have fun and do like my little Xy, caricature stars. If you are not liking this kind of star, you can do something else. These remind me almost of something you'd find on a quilt, or like a Byzantine, what's the thing I'm thinking of? It's like a bunch of tiles put together. You know what I'm talking about, right? Or like an inlaid something. I can just imagine this being like lapis and gold and carnelian. There's a word I'm looking for, and I can't think of it. But that's okay. We'll get there. So remember, no stars in that middle part. As tempting as it is, there's a planet in there, or a celestial body. And again, if you just want your stars to be dots, go for it. But I kind of like that look. It just makes me slightly happy. Rinse, rinse, rinse. All right, let's go hog wild with some gold. So again, we're using the 24 karat gold. Let's see. We'll squeeze that on here. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. If you can find the Extreme Sheen 24 karat gold from Deco Art Americana, this stuff is awesome and it will last you forever. I've actually pretty much emptied that bottle now, which is kind of insane to think about. All right, let's do this thing. Let's begin with some crowns. So a crown would be basically a line. Mosaic, that's the word I was looking for. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, you guys. So this was kind of inspired by the idea of like a mosaic. So we'll do a couple of lines up right in here. We'll make them nice, tall, skinny crowns, and then just a couple of wiggle, waggle, jiggle, jaggles for the top. It really could almost just be like 3 lines coming up because they're all so close together. They'll merge. So I'm going to really just kind of plop that gold heavily into the part. Yeah, there we go. Nice and heavy. And then this one kind of creating the base there. And then we'll do our 3 lines. 1, 2, 3. We'll just kind of fill in between. Yeah. So my hope is this kind of has that feel of a Byzantine mosaic. Which, of course, was something that occurred many, many years. It was a style that evolved many, many years after the first Christmas. All right, this guy's going to have 4 points. He has an extra big crown because, he's special. But obviously, if it's 3 kings, they have different kingdoms, so they must have different styles, right? All right, then each of them is going to be holding kind of right above at the top of their hand thing, like a big gold ball thing. And you could even kind of do a couple of balls like stacked on top of it, like I don't know what. It's some kind of a gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and something else that's valuable in a fancy holder. Bloops, bloops. There we go. And I guess they're similar. There we are. If any of you smelled frankincense, I think when I was in, I can't remember if it's when I was in Morocco or something else, but actually got a chance to smell it, and it's wonderful. So then I'm going to do kind of like a line that comes down almost like it's like a staff, because again, these guys are some royal dudes or wise men. Again, I don't know the difference here between, I know the difference between a wise man and a 3 king, but I feel like it's the same story, so I'm confused. All right, so now we get to do some details. We're going to come down and kind of outline the sleeves with gold. And we'll outline his cape with gold. I gotta rotate here. Are we still centered? Yes, we're still centered. Everybody can see it. Very good. That's my goal. Oops. Some royal dudes. Yeah, right. Is that what I said? Oh my gosh. You know, sometimes there's no accounting for the odd things that come out of my mouth. Royal dudes, that's it. Yep. So now we're getting, so I love this one because it's like those details are going to be really, really cool. Oops, there's my model. There's my model so I can remember what I did. I'm going to outline capes first, then we'll come back. Oh, we're going to outline the outside of this. So if you have a itty bitty, teeny tiny, really good, and emphasis on really good gold pen, you could totally do this with a gold pen. I would recommend if you do this that it would be a fine point oil-based gold pen rather than a water-based gold pen. The water-based gold pens, I've yet to see a good one. Like they just don't have the shine. They kind of are like anemic, for lack of a better term. So we got our wizard stars in the sky. I'm figuring at least one of these guys can have like a polka dot gown, jalaba, whatever you want to call it. I think that's what those are called. So again, it's been a while since I've been to Morocco. It was definitely pre 9/11. Gown. Okay, so now we've got some of the base gold in place. And I know that I want this guy to have polka dots, so I'm going to do some polka dots. So if you're using the gold, it's very viscous, it's very gooey. So you want to put down and then lift straight up. If you've got a lot of gold on and you go off to the side, it's going to drag a little bit of gold with it, and then your circles are not going to look so good. So you want to place it down and then go straight up. That way the little bit that kind of follows the brush lands flat, splat, right back on itself. I may have made that mistake a bunch of times. And my circles aren't, or my dots aren't perfect, and that's okay. I'm just trying to get some coverage here and kind of make their gowns look interesting. And of course, this will be beautiful, shimmery. And I guess we can do some dots on his sleeves. I don't really know. Maybe just a few dots straight up his sleeve. Right, this guy's cape, I'm going to kind of just gold in. Just give him a gold cape because it looks good. Yeah. So can I get that shimmer on? No, it does. It shimmers though. I swear it shimmers. All right, so coming back to this guy, I kind of want to left his cape blank. I just want to give him, I want to do more polka dots. Is that wrong? So for this guy, we're going to do some long stripes. So I needed to kind of rearrange the angle here. Just some gentle, delicate, shimmery stripes that kind of come down. So they're not going to be fully parallel because we want it to come off from that sort of center point and then spread out. Yep, so now you can kind of see the gold happening there. And then this guy, we're going to let his stripes, he's going to have stripes too, but they're going to kind of go at a different angle, like so. And we'll try and do kind of similar like stripes down his arms. Yeah, there we go. That's kind of fun. So again, they shimmer pretty awesomely. And I think I'm going to do just a bit of gold kind of down here at the base, and then maybe smudging a little gold up into the yellow cape. I want them to feel different. Could polka dots ever be wrong? No, I love polka dots. I really do. And then this guy's cape, we're going to just kind of do a little tiny bit of gold lining right at the base of the edge of the ornament. So you almost feel like his cape has some shimmer too, but it still looks mostly red. So my hope here is that we've kind of got a good enough differentiation. You can sort of see what's going on. We lost a little bit of the shading under that arm there, so I might just come back in with a touch more purple. I didn't rinse, I just kind of offloaded my gold. We'll see if we can't just bring a little bit more of that purple back in there, very, very gently, just kind of lightly brushing it under the arm. Maybe all the way down here to under the sleeve. Yeah. So that we still see that arm happening. Just looking, is there anywhere else where we're kind of losing fidelity, for lack of a better term? I think that pretty much covers it. So you have the option, if you want, to give them eyes or leave them blank. I worry about the eyes, but I might try with the dark brown here with my skewer. It's a bamboo skewer. Let's see here. So it would just be kind of an eye, and I would make it, ooh, it looks kind of bad. That's okay. Not making it a dot, I'm making it a tiny little line. It looks kind of dumb. That's okay. So don't do eyes. The eyes were not a good idea. Let's see if I can come lift it up a little bit. Lift or not, whatever. You know, I don't really care. So we have bad eyes. I think that covers it for this guy. I think if we do much more, it becomes a little bit busy. So hopefully you guys had fun doing our 3 wise men, 3 kings, whatever. Oh, you know, but we still have all this gold. Let's do the top part. Just make my little thing here. Come back with a bigger brush, grab some gold, because, oh shoot, I gotta rinse that guy. It's like my bristles are all stiff and gooky. What'd I do? Okay, there we go. Now grabbing the gold. So rotating, we're still, yep, still centered for everybody. You can see it. And we'll just get the gold right in here. Oh, I do love this. So I don't know how I'm going to do our finale for tomorrow. I'm hoping, like, how do you go out with a bang? We've had like a really good run so far. Yes, Linda. She says, I imagine those kings had some substantial brows. Yeah. So maybe my very bad attempt at eyes is actually just big, fluffy eyebrows that haven't gone gray yet, like their beards, don't match their beards. So I think we're going to call that good. Hopefully you guys had fun doing this. Let's see if we can get some of the shimmer to show a little bit. It shows. And this one, I picked one of the more interesting backgrounds to do. Again, so if you've just gotten these, I ended up using just wrapping paper and Mod Podge. So I'd Mod Podge the thing, stick it on the wrapping paper, burnish it down so it was nice and smooth, and then use a nail file to file along the edges for that perfect cut. And then after it was all dry, I did the Mod Podge on the top to seal it. And that's kind of how we did that. So there you go. There's our we 3 kings, our we 3 royal dudes. So thank you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.